I'm 20 years into this parenting gig and 15 years into homeschooling. And the skills that I needed to parent well when my kids were little are so different than the ones I need to parent and homeschool teens well. So today I thought we would chat about some of those lessons I've learned from homeschooling and parenting teens. Now, I'm not a parent who thinks I have all sorts of wisdom to share with my kids and that I always know best. But I do connect with people through conversation and through sharing stories. But to a teenager, sometimes that comes across as yet another lecture. Whether it's about their newest friend or a writing project that's due in 2 days and they've not yet started it, knowing when to stay quiet and when to speak up is such an important skill with teens. My mom was and is really good at staying quiet even when she disagrees. So I've had a really good role model on that side of it. But knowing when to speak up is harder for her and for myself. There's a lot of trial and error in this. I mean, in parenting in general, right? And you're going to mess up this and other stuff more than you're going to get it right, it's going to feel like. But when kids know that, one, we're really trying to listen to them and not just trying to control our tongue or waiting to be able to respond. And they know that when we stay quiet or speak up, it's coming from a place of love. Well, we've got more grace from them and for ourselves with that. Speaking of really listening to our kids, we can help them stay curious for life when we become curious about the things they are curious about. I had an older mentor mom who recommended to me that I become fans of the things my kids are fans of. Now, I can't throw myself into anime like Matthew or birds like Ben, but I love the passions of other people and their passion. And so I'm curious about what they're learning and what they like. And even if I don't share that passion or that interest, my kids know that I want to know about the things that interest them. And whether it's school related or just general life interests, every day I ask my kids some version of, tell me something interesting you learned today, or tell me something that I'll find interesting. Multiple times a week, my college age kiddo calls or texts me about things that she's learning about, or she'll start off a text by, I thought you would find this interesting, and then da-da-da-da-da. And even when she sent me her research proposal that was 40-some pages about a topic I don't understand, it was so interesting to see how she's blossomed as a student and something that she finds really interesting. When we show that curiosity about the things they're learning and about the things that interest them, they see the model of curiosity. And more than that, they see that we are interested in what they're interested in. Close your eyes and take a deep breath. Because this next one may be the hardest. Life is going to hit our kids hard. They're going to lose friendships. They're going to lose jobs. They're going to get bad grades. They're going to have a host of things that hit them. Sometimes it won't be their fault, and sometimes it will. And letting our kids fail, especially when we see it coming, is really important and so hard to do. But when we do that, they're going to learn lessons, they're going to learn to find help, and they're going to learn to pick themselves back up. Obviously, I am not talking about catastrophic things. Step in, then. I'm talking about those everyday hard things. You're going to see stats out there in the world like 75% of the time that you are ever going to spend with your kids is done by the age of 12. By age 18, 90% of the time that we have with our kids is gone. And regardless of the accuracy of these stats, there's some truth there. We only have so much time with our kids. And when our kids fail, pick themselves back up, move on, while they're still at home with us, well, that's experience that they have that's going to build confidence for when they have it happen later on. We're here to guide them and help them, scaffold them through it if necessary, and then let them build those skills so that when they're adults, they've got some foundation for dealing with all of life's hard things. Now, while that one is really hard in general, the one that's hardest for me, I'm saving for last. The next one, though, is probably my easiest lesson learned. Maybe you've dreamed of your kids having the same love of books that you do, or playing a sport that you or your husband loved, or doing a job that you and your husband have enjoyed, or whatever you've envisioned for them. As babies, we imagine those things of what our kids will be like when they're adults and when they're teenagers. And we set expectations of what family life will be like and what our teens must do while they're in our home. And then life hits us. And we have to let go of our ideas for our kids, for our teens, so that they can become the people they're meant to be. We never discussed it as an expectation, but Jim and I both assumed that our kids would go on to 4-year universities. We did growing up in the 80s and 90s. That's what you did to improve your life. And we just assumed that that's what our kids would do. And while it's been obvious for a long time that Ben would not do great in that situation, now that he's coming to end of high school, he'll be a junior next year, adjusting to the reality of that has been kind of a gut check with me. And the reality is that kids are going to spend more of their lives away from us than with us. And what we envisioned for them as teens, as adults, it needs to be what they want to do, because they're the ones who are going to live that life. And my biggest wish for my kids is that they are able to find a life that's perfect for them. And if you need to let yourself grieve those changed expectations, go for it, do it. But then throw yourself into those passions and those things that your kids like. Become curious about what they want out of their lives. The one that's hardest for me. No one describes me as a helicopter parent. I'm not going to be accused of being overprotective and doing everything for my kids. But mamas, when I tell you that letting my kids not need me so much is the hardest thing for me, I am not lying. And that's why I didn't wear mascara for this video, because I knew I would cry. When we dropped Elizabeth off at college, obviously I cried because I knew I was going to miss her. But it was the knowledge that I was no longer going to be the first person that she called when she was excited about something or when she was sad. That was what broke my heart. From that moment on, her roommates and her friends and the occasional professor, they were going to be the ones that she naturally went to. They were around. They knew what was going on. They were doing her day-to-day life with her. And even though I knew that that's natural and it's what to be expected, oh, mamas. I still get those calls and those texts. When she submitted her proposal for her research project recently, she sent it to me right away. But letting that go has been far harder than I expected. When your little one is born, they talk about the importance of bonding, and everything's about bonding with your kids. But no one warns you about the crumpled mess you'll become when those bonds change and shift as they become teenagers and adults. And it is amazing watching your kids grow up and become who they are. Oh, but mama's letting go of that. Of that need to not be needed. It's hard and wonderful and amazing. Parenting teens, I love it. I really, really love it. I loved babies. I love toddlers. But teenagers, man, they are absolutely amazing. If you're a mom of teens, I would love for you to share down below something that you've learned parenting or homeschool wise, and I will see you in the next video.